What's going on, everybody? And today I'm going to talk a little bit about bodybuilding and contractions. A lot of people seem to forget that the sport of bodybuilding is not about the weight. Bodybuilders are not powerlifters, okay? They're not about moving the maximum amount of weight from point A to point B, which is the goal of powerlifting. Bodybuilding is about muscle size and muscle shape and the relationship of muscles to other muscles, okay? And one of the most important things to achieve that and to get to that is focusing on the contraction and the quality of the contraction. I don't care if you're benching 30-pound dumbbells. If this is where you feel the contraction, then this is the weight that you should stick with until you're able to comfortably contract the muscle with a heavier weight. Don't try to rush it, and just because you want to show off or you think the weight's too low and you think other people in the gym are looking at you, that you want to bench 100-pound dumbbells, but it's not shoulders. It's not chest. It's not chest. It's not the chest muscle that you're contracting. You're now using shoulders, your back, use everything. It's too heavy to just focus the contraction on the chest muscle. So the chest muscle now is not growing, is not contracting properly for it to be able to tear up and be under stress for it to grow. So that's why this is why a lot of people don't grow, because they are not doing the weights, the most optimal weight for growth for them. And they're comparing themselves to other people, and they look at other people and they think people are looking at them at the gym, and people are judging them at the fucking gym. No one cares, man. The weights you lift. Nobody cares about the weights you lift and all this stuff. And you shouldn't care about anybody. And the only thing you should care about is the feeling that you get when you're contracting your muscle, and the burn that you get when you're contracting your muscles, and the quality and depth and intensity of that contraction. As this is like a similitude almost to everything else in life. Business. You can take that concept of contraction and bodybuilding and focusing on that with business, with everything else in life, career. It's almost like bodybuilding is this amazing thing, it's this amazing sport that can be mapped out onto anything else in life. And it can teach you and give you lessons about almost everything else in life, because it is so showing of the nature of how things happen in life that you can use bodybuilding as a mentor to teach you everything else about other aspects like business, like even relationships and stuff like that. So don't care if you're benching 5 pounds. That should not be your concern. Of course, you keep the weights and you record all your sessions and stuff like that, but weights should not be your concern. You should just start feeling the muscle and feeling the contractions and feeling the quality of the contractions, and then increase the intensity and the length of that contraction and that stress that the muscle is under. It should be your main focus. Your focus should not be, you know what, man, I should be benching 70 pounds. No, you shouldn't. You should bench the weight where you feel the highest quality of contraction at. This is the weight that you should be benching. Or the weight that you're using to train your chest is the weight where you feel the highest quality of contraction. Not the weight that you're lifting because you think, I'm not a pussy, man. I can't, bench 30 pounds at this gym, and everybody's looking at me. Fuck everybody, man. What you should be only concerned with is that you get in your set extremely focused, and you focus on the quality of your contractions. Again, and you don't have to do for that. You don't even have to do full range reps. I think full range reps, full range of motion is bullshit. Full range of motion is a myth. It's a myth. It's a waste of time. You can grow a lot more if you keep the range of motion only to the part where it maximizes the contraction of the muscle. When you lock all the way out or all the way in, usually that's just resting. The muscle is not contracting at these 2 points, these 2 extremes. That 30% of the end and 30% of the beginning is usually the muscle is not contracting there. And this is usually true with any fucking move. Locking out the joint, the muscle itself is not under contraction because it doesn't have to exert force to stabilize the weight, which is how stress works on the muscle. So if you're doing chest and you're all the way down here, there's no contraction in the muscle. You're all the way up here, you're locking out joint, there's no contraction in the muscle. That's with full range of motion. So you're resting from here up to maybe 20-30% to here, and this is really this part from here to here is where the muscle is really working, right? So this is what you should be focused on. This right here, 1, 2. Now the muscle is under consistent stress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Consistent stress. 6. It's not resting. 5. Consistently under stress, lifting and focusing on the negatives, fighting the way back. Here. Now I'm putting the muscle under consistent stress. If you're locked in all the way right here, so you're resting, and then you do a full range of motion. From here to here, this 20 or 30% in the beginning is bullshit. Muscle is not really activated. Locking out all the way, the muscle is not activated. So from here, for example, to here, the muscle is not really under stress. More like joints and shoulders are working. From here to here, that's where the push happens. And also locked all the way in, the first 10%, 20%, whatever, is not really where it's at. So yeah, keeping the muscle under tension sometimes means that you don't do full range of motion. And this is why I say that full range of motion is absolute crap. And this is one of those examples where theory, in that sense, not even scientific theory, not even real accurate scientific theory of lifting and hypertrophy training, it's not even real accurate theory, is wrong. And the real theory and the real science is to keep the muscle under tension for the most amount of time, for the longest period of time that you can. And the best way to do this sometimes is to not do a full range of motion, but to do a partial range of motion to save time and grow more than just this full range of motion type stuff. So I think cutting down the range of motion actually is one of the most effective things that you can do to enhance your training and to grow more. Same thing with shoulders. Take, for example, lateral raises. All the way down, you are resting. Resting, man. Lifting from here to here, it's really nothing. Really, the work happens from here, maybe all the way down here, and then back up. All the way down, the last 30% right here, down there, you're just resting. So if you go all the way down and you're lifting your arms back up all the way to here, you just wasted the first 30%. But if you, from here, stabilizing the shoulder, and you go down and then back up, halfway the move and back up, halfway and back up. Now the shoulders are under more stress, way more stress than if you lock all the way down, which is the full range of motion. There is no such thing as full range of motion. The mathematical function for growing is muscle under tension, muscle under stress. And muscle under stress, maximizing stress, means many times that you're not going to be doing full range of motion. You're going to be doing partial range of motion to keep the muscle under the highest amount of stress. So that's a very crucial point that a lot of people seem just to not understand when it comes to bodybuilding, is the whole myth of full range of motion. But if you like to rest a lot and waste a bunch of time, wasting 30% of the move or even more resting, because it's easier for you to rest than to keep the muscle under tension, it's less painful to your body, then by all means, if you do that, and if you do that, you're not going to grow as fast, and you're not going to grow as much, because you're wasting a whole bunch of 30% of your training sets. They're wasted in the resting position, and the muscle is not under real tension. You understand? And I might, may add some graphics or something like that to show people like the details of these things and why these things scientifically from an anatomical perspective don't make any sense. The whole myth with full range of motion, stuff like that. It's very intuitive, and you think that people that would have a lot of experience training, they would, not, propagate a lot of these things, but it's actually not. It's actually not true. Now, moving to a different topic, which is basically cognitive function and mixing bodybuilding with cognitive function and how challenging that can be and ways to be able to do that. I've talked about this in other videos. How to be the smartest, probably the smartest bodybuilder in the planet. How to be a smart bodybuilder, not a dumb bodybuilder, a really smart bodybuilder. To be a really smart bodybuilder is a challenge, but I think some of the things that will help with that challenge, some of the things that will help you achieve that goal to be a smart bodybuilder is, number one, manipulating the time in which you eat your calories, and having a window of time where you put in all your calories, maybe an 8-hour window where you have 3 meals in these 8 hours, I think would be a way more efficient plan to be a smart bodybuilder than to eat all across the day. Because bodybuilders have to consume a lot of calories to grow. And a huge portion of these calories are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates don't have the best effect on the brain because they slow down the brain, they make you feel lethargic. Many people like me get carb coma. So it's not the best thing for cognitive function. So my window of eating usually would be the 8-hour window before I go to sleep. Because usually carbohydrates, I like to consume them at night because they make you, at night, I'm tired anyways and I'm going to go to sleep anyways. So I consume them at night because I don't care if I'm going to get lethargic or not. I don't want to be lethargic during the day. Which brings me to the second point, which is the bioavailability of the food. If you compress all the calories you need to eat in a limited time window, would be the digestion as efficient and the bioavailability and your body extracting the proteins, the fats, and everything you need out of those calories, would it be as efficient, constricted in a limited window of time, as it would be if you distributed all across the day, like normal bodybuilders do, eat 7 meals all across the day? That's another area of research that I might dedicate a different video to. So would your body absorb calories in the same percentages in the same manner? We'll dedicate another video, and I've done a bunch of research to try and answer that question, and I'm going to discuss that in its own video, but it's just one of the ways to explore. The second thing when it comes to bodybuilding and cognitive function is if you're a bodybuilder and you take stuff that are, let's say for example, stimulants and cognitive enhancers, like some people who care about their brain function might take some excessive amounts of caffeine, nicotine, amphetamines, use heroics to be able to boost your cognitive function. A lot of these stimulants will have a suppressive effect on your appetite. And a suppressive effect for your appetite as a bodybuilder is not going to be the most constructive thing. So how do you control and manipulate your appetite if you use stimulants to enhance your cognitive function is another area of research. And one way you can do that is by utilizing ghrelin stimulators and ghrelin compounds that stimulate your hunger hormones, so you can be able to eat more in the times where you want to eat more, and counter the effect of these stimulants that you may be taking to enhance your cognitive function and improve your focus and concentration, and many other things. Among them are caffeine and nicotine and whatever, amphetamines, all these different things. So this is the second point, is using compounds that are almost like steroids for cognitive function versus bodybuilding, or while you're bodybuilding or building your body. The third thing would be the type of calories, the type of foods that you will eat on bodybuilding. And can you change some of the things, some of the foods that you eat as a bodybuilder to be able to enhance cognitive function more. So we talked about the restricted window of eating, but can you let go of some foods and pick some other foods? Yes, there are so many changes to your diet that you can make so you can optimize for cognitive function and brain function. One of those things that you can do is the specific types of carbohydrates that you eat. And when do you eat those carbohydrates? For example, we talked about the the restricted 8 window of eating, which is basically intermittent fasting. And if you can do that as a bodybuilder. But if you have to take 4,000 calories a day as a bodybuilder, and you want to restrict them in that window, it can be a little challenging. Now, what if you, in the beginning of this window, which is like, let's say 8 hours before you go to sleep, or 8 hours before the last 2 hours before you go to sleep, what if you ate all your proteins and fats in the first 4 hours of those 8 hours, and then you ate all your carbohydrates in the last 4 hours, closer to your sleep time, so that you get the carbohydrate lethargy close to your sleep time and at the end of the day anyways, so it doesn't affect your cognitive function towards the earlier parts of the day where you're trying to maintain optimal cognitive function. Would that be a good strategy? I think it would be. And I'm going to experiment with all these things, measure my results, and I'm going to put them on in the videos so that this can serve as an experiment to be able to help everybody that's willing to achieve the same thing. Because this is one of the things that have been driving me crazy as somebody who loves bodybuilding, who practices bodybuilding with all its 5 layers that I've talked about in my book and on the website. Is bodybuilding and the way you have to eat to bodybuild takes a toll on your cognitive function. It does make you dumber, the way bodybuilders eat, the way bodybuilders live. So one of my main challenges has been to, how can I maintain my cognitive function that I used to have before bodybuilding, when I was skinny and maximizing for cognitive function? How can I maintain that as a bodybuilder? How can I maintain that as somebody that is practicing bodybuilding and mix those two things? What strategies can I deploy to maximize cognitive function while bodybuilding? And I'm going to be experimenting with all these different things, and I have my own protocols for enhancing cognitive function and for enhancing brain ability and memory function and focus function, all these different things. I'm going to talk about my protocols specifically for cognitive function in a different video, and my metrics for achieving what I was able to achieve. Metrics for comprehension, like the amount of words, sustaining reading at least 90,000 words every day, memorizing not less than 20 points, 20 concepts every day, and sticking that to your memory palace. Solving different problems every day, at least 10, 15 problems every day. All these metrics that I use to measure cognitive function as far as comprehension, focus, memory capability. I'll be measuring them along with my bodybuilding metrics and figuring out what is the best way to mix these two things as far as to maximize overall human performance. And this is really something that has been a passion of mine for a very long time, is how to maximize the body and the brain. And as somebody that grew up with the sport of bodybuilding and somebody that loves the sport of bodybuilding with all of its aspects, its chemistry, the pharmacology, the biology, everything like that, I really had a hard time, letting go of bodybuilding just for the brain function, because it's something that I love, that I consume, that I breathe. I love bodybuilding. So it was really hard for me to let go of bodybuilding, and I've always had that struggle. When I go, just do bodybuilding and focus on my body, my brain takes a hit. If I only focus on the brain and I do the intermittent fasting and the caloric restriction, stuff like that, my body takes a hit and I look like trash and I get skinny and I lose my muscle and I'm not doing bodybuilding anymore. So this has been a great passion of mine, and like I said, I'm going to be experimenting with all these different things. Now, another aspect is that also can be a result, or something that can take a hit as a result of practicing bodybuilding, is longevity. So another area of mine has been, how do you mix bodybuilding with longevity, which is the area of expertise and focus of great scientists like Dr. David Sinclair, of people like Brian Johnson from the Blueprint, an area for a lot of other people that are maximizing for longevity and for health, and people that think that humans can live to 100 years, 150 years, like Dr. David Sinclair and their books, Lifespan, and looking at aging and death as a problem to be solved, as something, as a challenge to be, solved or conquered, basically. And I think this is the right way to look at it. But one of the things about bodybuilding is that it can contradict, or it can adversely affect your longevity. And we all know why. Even if you practice bodybuilding naturally, without the anabolic layer, without the steroids, that can affect your lipid profile and blood profile and cardiovascular capacity. Even if you don't do that, even if you do natural bodybuilding with the methods of eating in a caloric surplus, eating so much food, spiking your glucose levels all across the day, being in an anabolic state all the time, as well as just lifting weights itself, which can increase blood pressure, it can increase metrics in your body, like some types of metrics that can be adversely affected by bodybuilding, like creatinine. Is one of the things that if you lift a lot of weights, creatinine levels can be elevated. There's a lot of things that natural weightlifting can do to elevate many of your health metrics without touching any anabolics. Now, add to that people that use anabolics. Now you add a completely another dimension of complexity that can add many more complications to your longevity function. So how can you achieve all these different things? How can you achieve longevity also with bodybuilding? Are there ways to maximize your longevity, the amount of years you live, and the equivalent of full health in the way that Dr. David Sinclair describes it, while practicing the sport that you love, which is bodybuilding, and having a body that you love and a body that you're excited about? One of also the things and the functions that I'm going to be exploring more in these videos, and I just hope that I am able to muster enough focus to be able to address all these different things and to delve and explain all the science behind all these different areas that I'm going to be trying to explore. And I think a lot of value and a lot of amazing things are going to come out of this quest that I'm going to be trying to approach, and it's going to be beneficial for a lot of other people too, that would be trying to mix these different things. So with that being said, I hope that people are able to maximize those three aspects of life: the body, the brain, and longevity, right? So imagine if you can be ripped and have tons of muscles, but live a long life, and at the same time be very extremely intelligent. Imagine if you can hit those three areas in a great way. That would be a great life. That would be an amazingly productive life. That would be crazy, actually. It would be amazing if people are able to achieve all these different things, and there are protocols for all these different things, and there are protocols for mixing them together. So that being said, perfecthumanx.com is where I write and comment on all these scientific studies and all the protocols for all these different things that I talked about: cognitive function, bodybuilding, longevity, as well as many other health metrics. So that being said, check it out. Great information, and I'll see you in the next video.